My son, 6 years old, was prohibited from sitting next to his friend on the school bus because a parent objected to my perspectives on book challenges. My older son's history teacher allowed students to label him a Nazi-phile simply for his interest in history and participation in ROTC. She later nominated my son as the most likely to become a dictator and had his classmates vote on it and try to force him to the front of the class to receive the certificate, which he rightly refused, all because of his conservative values and our perspectives.
Thank you. Well, today we get the pleasure of diving back into the fever swamp that is American education, where the lunatics, and underline the word lunatics, are running the asylum, and the kids are just collateral damage in a culture war hotter than a Sahara Desert summer. You've got teachers out there handing future Nazi and most likely to be a dictator certificates to 6-year-olds, like it's a participation trophy at a socialist book club. Guys, as we start, smash that like button, that thumb up button, like it's the left trying to smash dissent for the algorithm, and leave me a comment with your thoughts and subscribe if you're new, because we're talking about a 6-year-old. This kid's just trying to figure out how to tie his own shoes. And maybe he dreamed of joining the ROTC because he saw a cool camouflage backpack and a G.I. Joe. And Mrs. Wokenstein's like, hold up there, Timmy. Here's a swastika starter kit for you, bad boy. In front of the entire class in an attempt to shame him and anybody else who happens to have similar ideas. Are you kidding me? This is what happens when you let people who think critical theory is a personality trait loose on impressionable young minds. Because I wouldn't consider this an education. It's a hostage situation. And let me give you an even more egregious example, if there could be. Go up north to Toronto, Canada, you polite little commies. You think you're so slick, just agreeing with everything that the government shoves down your throat? Well, that got you a substitute teacher, probably fresh off of a Reddit thread about punching Nazis, who decides to turn a middle school classroom into a snuff film festival. Imagine your 10-year-old being shown a video of Charlie Kirk getting popped over and over, like it's the JFK assassination on loop at a conspiracy convention for loons completely void of sympathy to 10-year-olds. Then he's like, hey kids, gather round, let me explain why this guy deserved it. Because he said something I disagreed with, something spicy on X, and he's a racist and a fascist. Bro, these kids are still eating glue and failing long division. They don't need your TED Talk on ideological executions. And what happens to the teacher? Did he get fired? Nah. They just put the guy on paid leave, which is code for go sip oat milk lattes until the parents stop rage tweeting and we can sneak you back in through the back door, which is probably how he takes it. Meanwhile, the poor kids are traumatized, and the teacher's probably back next semester with a promotion to Chief Indoctrination Officer. This is the rot, my friends, the long march through the institutions that Yuri Bezmenov warned us about in 1984, this ex-KGB spy. And this was back when shoulder pads were big and America still had a spine. He said that it would take a generation to turn our schools into Marxist petri dishes. And guess what? Congratulations, the petri dish, my friends, is overflowing. These teachers aren't just rogue weirdos. They're the foot soldiers of a system that has been marinating in anti-American Kool-Aid for decades. Because it's not even subtle anymore. You have professors and principals who think the Constitution is just a suggestion, and that's only if they like those passages. Kind of like picking anchovies off of a pizza. And the unions? Those people are out there fighting harder to protect these lunatics than they ever did for actual teacher pay. You got to keep the indoctrination mill humming. Try firing a tenured nut job who thinks patriotism is a hate crime. Good luck. It's easier to get a vegan to eat bacon. But here's the kicker and the good news. The parents are waking up. They are starting to yank their kids out of public school and replacing it with homeschooling. Teaching little Johnny math and history without the side of capitalism is Satan and the United States is the worst country on earth propaganda. Some red states are starting to hand out school vouchers. And the teachers' unions, of course, are screaming like they just found out their kombucha's been spiked with high fructose corn syrup. Why? They hate choice. Because choice means competition and thus accountability. And accountability means that they can't keep churning out mini Che Guevaras without a fight. And you know what? The sad reality is that we on the liberty side are losing the propaganda war, my friends. The other side, they have the TikTok algorithm, which turns kids into drones faster than you can say critical race theory syllabus. So what do? We need to fight fire with fire. We have to unleash a tsunami of star-spangled, liberty-loving content. I'm talking Captain America reads the Federalist Papers cartoons. Why the Second Amendment rocks TikTok dances. Maybe we get a bald eagle rapping about free speech. Call it propaganda. Call it whatever you want. I really don't care. All I know is if we don't begin to sell freedom like it's the hottest NFT drop, we're going to crumble faster than a public school's budget during a union strike. These teachers that are pulling this garbage, they do not need a timeout. What they need is a one-way ticket to Pyongyang where they can lecture Kim Jong-un on why his regime's not inclusive enough. And the clowns who train them ship them to the gulag with a syllabus and a dream. Because we are in a battle for the soul of the nation, and it's time to stop playing nice. We need to clean up this mess pronto, crank up the patriotism, and remind everyone about exactly why this great country is worth fighting for. Before we're all just footnotes in Bezmenov's dystopian PowerPoint presentation 10 years from now. Now, I'm personally going to be walking with that bald eagle wrapper on my wrist into a local schoolroom. And if the Marxist teacher there gives me any guff, I'm going to let the eagle go full talons upon him. And I'm going to watch with pride because that's what patriotism is, folks. It's about fighting back when it is needed.